All right, we are operational. Well, we'll go ahead and get started now. Welcome everybody to the BeatCancer.Org Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call. It is the 12th of June, and we are here once again to discuss matters of holistic health, well-being, holistic cancer healing, and prevention. I'm your host, Zachariah Frank, the COO of BeatCancer.Org. My co-host, Carl Wagner, will not be joining us today. He was not able to make it. So please do excuse my split focus at times as I address our wonderful participants and attendees, monitor the chat, address the live calls that live stream that we have going on the different social media platforms, as well as make sure that the comments are tended to there as well. So if you see me all over the place, that is what I am up to. We have a wonderful group joining us already. I'm sure more people will hop on as we go. I see Coach Catherine Jansen, Coach Dr. Gerda, Coach Jim Webb, or Coach in Training, I forget which one. Um, and yeah, some other friends. Thank you, Julia, from the Annie Appleseed Project. Always great to see you. I see we have some comments coming in already on some topics to talk about. Fantastic. I love it. Before we get off to that, I'll just start off with some disclaimer. Nothing that we say on this call is intended to be taken as explicit medical advice. Always consult with the appropriate practitioner, whatever that means to you, before you make your decisions. Your health is in your own hands, and you know, make sure that you act responsibly. We are here to talk about generalities, of course. We can talk about people's specific circumstances at a surface level, but for a deeper dive into any one particular circumstance, it would be most appropriate to follow up with whomever you heard from on this call or wherever you get pointed to for a full consultation and intake questionnaire before a more developed action plan is developed. So with that, let me go ahead and let in the people in the waiting room because they're stacking up. We got some more coaches coming on. Wonderful. And with that, we will get off to our first question that we have from one of our participants right here in the Zoom. Someone asked if we can talk about immune modulation on mushrooms. So that was from our friend iPhone. I think, is that Craig with his hand up? If so, you are welcome to raise your or unmute yourself, Craig, and elaborate on the question that you may have. Craig, is that you with your hand up there?
Does anybody know anything about turkey tail? It's called standardized uh, coronial coronial versicolor turkey tail.
So if I'm gathering, it's Coronial versicolor. Is that a specific species
Yeah,
of turkey tail mushrooms?
yes, it's standardized. So the story about 20 years ago, there was a lady um, who had cancer or some incurable disease. She went to Sloan Kettering, and the doctor said she has about 2 months to live, and she tried everything. And her son knew some relatives in Japan who were working on standardizing this mushroom, and so she got a hold of the mushroom. And 4 months later, she went back in, said, "I feel really good," and they did all the tests, and she was cancer free.
Wonderful. Sounds wonderful. So that gets pitched to our coaches now. If anyone has any thoughts on turkey tail mushrooms specifically, or the specific species that Craig has mentioned, or we can open it up to a broader scale question on the interaction between mushrooms and cancer at large, if there's no specific thoughts on that species of turkey tail. So open to our coaches. All right. Open to anyone else on the call. If anyone else has thoughts on the interaction between medicinal mushrooms and cancer. I see.
I can give it a shot.
Sure. Go ahead, Dr. Gerda.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so mushrooms are still being studied, of course, but to me, is it the turkey tail specifically, or is it the beta glucans
It's
in
beta glut
mushrooms? Yeah,
the
that
the
that
beta
helped her with
the
the
beta
cancer.
the beta
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
the beta glucans.
Right. So beta glucans have been known to be an immune modulator. So I would say, it's probably the beta glucans that helped her with her cancer. Or it could be placebo. That's a possibility, or both. It's hard to say. I don't think that we can blanketly say that turkey tail helps cancer.
Okay.
What kind of cancer did she have?
I don't know. I don't know the full story. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it was probably the beta glucans that helped.
Wonderful. I see a hand up from Ron. Thank you very much, Dr. Gerda. Did you have any follow-up on that, or shall we go over to?
I don't know.
Thank you very much for your addition. How you doing, Ron?
Hi. I'm doing okay. Today was a blood test, and I don't have results for a day or two, so a little bit on edge. But I wanted to follow up on the mushrooms. So I was also treating through MSK and through a pharmacy. I can't tell you the name that had been, but isn't directly associated with them, had also recommended turkey tail as part of a regime that he put me on initially. And then I went to see an alternative complementary medicine doctor at that hospital. He urged me to stop taking that. And then, I don't know, probably 5 months ago or so, Glenn Sabin urged me to consider um, cordyceps as a mushroom choice. I was doing that with ECGC. And then, I don't know, a couple months back, I got some numbers that my liver, enzymes were way high. So we immediately stopped the ECGC and the cordyceps. I'm hoping they've been trending down the past few tests, so I'm hoping we get into the normal range. And then I think the plan is to go back and add either ECGC or add the cordyceps again and see if we can keep the liver numbers where they need to be. But Glenn felt very strongly, and there is information on um, a Facebook group called Anti-Cancer Thrivers about cordyceps. So I just want to put that out there. I don't have a medical knowledge about it, but I wanted to just share that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Ron, I'm sorry. Ron, what kind of cancer do you have? What type?
CLL,
I'm
CLL,
sorry. So,
CLL. Yep.
thank you.
By the way, if you have any feedback, if you think, if I don't know if cordyceps is something you're familiar with at all, but I'd be interested in that too.
I do know about cordyceps, about mushrooms in general, and I just know they're being studied. There's no conclusive evidence, and it's different for everybody. It's different for every cancer. That they're like reishi is to breast cancer, cordyceps maybe to your cancer, as turkey tail was to that other cancer. So it's very cancer specific as well.
If you if we've dropped out the ECGC and the cordyceps, and the liver enzyme numbers seem to have come down. If you had to guess which one would be irritating the liver, either ECGC or the cordyceps, would you guess which one might be the problem?
between the two, I would guess that it was the cordyceps.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah.
And because I had been on the ECGC for a while, and the liver numbers were quite fine for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they seemed to come up after I was on the cordyceps. So
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ron and Dr. Gerda. Jane, do you have a follow-up on the conversation with Ron here? Oh, you were off mute for a moment and then you went back. Nope, you went off and on again.
there.
There it is.
Ron, I'm just so happy to see you because you've been on my mind all week.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're on the call today. And I'm really happy that you found an integrative medicine doctor that you like. And where is that person affiliated from?
So the one I had uh, uh, connected with was at MSK. The problem is he is moving on to UC Davis, and I don't get the sense at MSK, I don't get the sense that they work all that closely with the MDs, or with the doctor that's essentially the lead doctor, if you will. So I haven't quite found that um, yet, but I am looking.
Well, I did give you the name of one doctor. I don't want to push it, but he is an MD with Marcus Institute. And I don't
So,
know if that's your choice or you want to look for some others or, but
okay, so
it's
you're
helpful to.
saying rather than two doctors that are aligned, you're saying to find one that has both.
No, to integrative medicine doctor would be, or anyone that you choose would be working with your regular hematologist. But you're
Okay,
right that if they're both MDs, they're talking the same language
okay.
and
Well, you
they're
know what?
more
Um,
likely to listen to each other. But it has to be somebody you like, not,
yeah,
I just
yeah.
have a suggestion.
I
But
I I think for ease and because, my primary doctor really is at Columbia, I'm gonna have to look up there.
yes, look up there, but look for if I could make a suggestion, an integrative medicine doctor that is, they're MDs and board certified in integrative medicine. So this is, a new, I guess, relatively new specialty, just like cardiologists would be or hematology would be. And when my husband had leukemia, we found that they were very receptive, the hematologist and the integrative medicine doctor and Michael's whole team, because they were all MDs. So yes, looking in Columbia, but you should be able to find one because it's it's getting more and more popular.
Okay, well, thank you. And I have some work to do for sure on that.
Okay,
Thank
but
you
it's good
very
to
much.
see you.
Thank you very much, Jane.
Thanks.
Over
Thank you.
to Catherine Jensen.
Hi, Zach. Thank you very much for letting me have a moment. I just thought, just for those who do not know a lot about mushrooms and what the benefits are of the mushrooms, I just want to do a quick little minute, okay?
Please.
Number one, mushrooms are really good with boosting the immune system, specifically T cells, the helper T cells. They also are known for being high in selenium, for B vitamins and riboflavin and niacin sources, but also the shiitake mushrooms contain lentinate. And one of the really nice things about mushrooms is that they stimulate the natural ability of your body to produce interferon. Or some people call it interferon, but interferon is produced different ways. But that is something that you may want to take a look at. Is um, just out of interest, I just thought I'd mention those few little things. And mushrooms often with garlic, because garlic has a lot of good benefits as well. So it's a nice natural additive to our food. And the nice thing about mushrooms is whether they're cooked or whether they're raw, they're very healthy for us.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Coach Catherine. Um, awesome. So do we have any other additions on the topic of mushrooms before we move on to the next? I see a hand up from Coach Maya. Please go ahead.
Hey everyone. On mushrooms, I have watched a presentation of Paul Stamets. I believe so. His last name is. He had a presentation on turkey tail mushrooms and correlation, not correlation, I mean the effect on HER2 positive breast cancer, where it showed that there was a huge effect on in combination of conventional and using higher dose of turkey tail mushrooms. So it kind of what he was talking about, it helps to increase the NK cells and kind of affects the dendritic cells of the of the of the body. Um, it's very good show on TED Talk, and the guy's name is Paul Stamets. So if you would want to go and look at it, there's a lot of talk on the mushrooms, especially past couple of years. But my biggest question when it comes to the mushrooms, is there when they grow wildly, I would say the potency probably higher than they've been like kind of cultivated and been grown in the, um, on the farms. I asked that question so many times, what would be the potency of the mushroom that grown in the farm in comparison to the ones that been harvested wildly? They said they do have similar, but not as much, not as higher qualities as if you would have gotten them from the wild source. That's all I know about mushrooms, even though I did look into that quite deeply past couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that addition, Coach Maya. We have a comment over on the Facebook stream. Someone has said, I have had so much advice on diet for pancreatic cancer, and recently a pancreatic dietitian told me not to follow any particular diet and to eat absolutely anything with no problem. What are your thoughts on this, please? I have lost 22 kilograms in 7 months. Open to the panel. I see a hand from Jane.
I think it's rare that dietitians will generally give people the knowledge that they need. Most of the time you'll hear a nutritionist say, well, eat in moderation. It doesn't matter because the pancreas, and I would think pancreatic cancer, they think is pretty serious. So is that going to matter? Because it's in line with the nutritionists are in line with the mainstream medicine. It doesn't necessarily feel that food as medicine. So I would suggest that a nutritionist, when we're looking at alternative care and other suggestions for other choices, is probably not the best way to go.
I would definitely agree. I think a nutritionist or a dietitian of any ilk that says don't worry about your diet isn't really a dietitian at all, really. I mean, what are they doing then if they're just saying to eat whatever, you know?
And
Um,
most of the time, they're very big. Okay, we're losing a lot of weight, so let's use Boost or one of those things that is pure sugar and is just going to feed the cancer. So
yeah, yeah, certainly. It doesn't sound like much of a dietitian to me at all. Any additional comments from the group?
I
And
have one quick comment.
please do.
That is a classic oncologist answer, right?
Yeah.
The next question that you should ask is, okay, I hear what you're saying, doc. my diet's going to consist of Coca-Cola, Twinkies, pretzels, ice cream, and you want me to believe that that is in no way different than broccoli or name any vegetable, I mean, it's a laughable, I almost laughed out loud. It's kind of ridiculous, but so common,
Yeah, absolutely. And
unfortunately.
all of those foods you just mentioned would be what is probably in the vending machine down the hall, and that's how it
Exactly.
comes off.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't even know how to begin answering that question, except I can't. It's too enormous. It's too
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. I would recommend seeking out a different dietitian if wanting to work with one at all. That one does not seem very helpful, is my honest thoughts, put very gently. Cool. Any additional comments on that from the panel here? No, I think we
No,
summed
I
that up
would
pretty
just
good.
say that that's where a cancer coach comes in to help with food as medicine.
That's a fantastic point. On this call right now are several holistic cancer coaches trained by BeatCancer.org, as well as several in training. And while the conventional training avenues that result in these oncologists and dietitians unfortunately don't create very helpful individuals a lot of the times, we're here to fill in the gaps. And working with a cancer coach or our doctor here at Beat Cancer is a wonderful way to fill in those gaps where you still have questions. So thank you for that addition, Jane. It's a great addition.
Sure.
Is that a hand from Ron? I see.
I'm not sure I completely understood that statement, question, whatever. But of course, I 1000% believe um, nutrition's really important. And gave up red meat 25 years ago, but I buy stuff from Morningstar Farms that I thought was good for me and things like that. And I didn't realize, well, that's processed and that's really garbage anyway. So under some advice about, I don't know, 14 months or so ago, and clearly I was overweight. I still need to lose about 10 or 15 pounds. But about 14 months ago, I went organic, and I would say I strive for 100%. I probably get 96, 95, 96, 97% organic. I get rid of all sweets. The only bread I'll have is sourdough with no sugar. I got rid of all dairy. Um, no fried foods, nothing. Obviously, you can't do that. And without really even trying, but slowly over months. I'm, focus group of one, but I'm down like 27 pounds. And, I've always needed to lose weight and I just maybe didn't have the willpower. But of course, this is a little bit different now because, if you're cheating, who are you cheating? You're cheating yourself in a big way. So I found the willpower to do that. But like I said, I felt like when I got really careful and very mindful about everything I ate, and, all spring water, nothing out of the tap, not even filtered. I got real hardcore with the diet part, and I'm pretty happy with it.
That's amazing. Thank you for that share, Ron. Our bodies, much like anything in life, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So it's super important to curate what we're putting into it for the results that we want. We have Catherine Jansen with her hand up, and then I believe I saw Julia's hand.
Thank you very much, Zach. I really just wanted to comment that number one, it's important to eat well, maybe maintain a good hydration and ensure that you're not losing weight and monitor your weight loss. For those who don't understand the role of the pancreas, there are actually two major functions. One is the production of insulin. The other one is the production of some of those digestive enzymes and some of those juices. And those are two different parts of the pancreas that is managed by that. And so it's hard to comment on when someone says they have pancreatic cancer when you don't know where it's affected and where it's located, especially if it's close to um, the ducts and everything up close to the intestine. But overall, you know what? let's take what Hippocrates said. Let food be your medicine, let medicine be your food. Eat well and keep hydrated. Uh, Make sure that you're sleeping well, you're managing your stress, and above all, you know what? I really think it's important to maintain your weight and to listen to your body. It'll tell you what feels good. If you're nauseated or having vomiting and issues like that, small, frequent meals, do what you can so that you're comfortable and that you're getting adequate nutrition. Even if that means protein shakes and smoothies and juicing, it's important to be nutritively strong and to keep your body nutritively strong. That's what you need to do most.
Wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you very much, Coach Catherine. And did I see Julia's hand up for an addition? Please do grab the mic. And everybody, please do welcome Julia, the president of the Annie Appleseed Project, to the call. Very excited to have her here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I wanted to give a shout out to CJ because I haven't seen you in so long. We had you speak at one of our conferences. I just wanted to say hi to everybody, and I'm so excited to be a part of this really worthy group. Great information. I totally concur with what several of the speakers have said so far. I mean, at Appleseed Project, we teach from a circle of balance, which includes mind, body, nutrition, education, the mind body aspect, fitness, hydration, proper sleep, etc. And we have experts, scientists, doctors, and practitioners, many of which are on this call, who have spoken or who have attended our conference. And we, like I think most of the holistic coaches here, believe that education is key, good education, and that there's not a one size fits all with any of us, but it's really important to think about going to the Office of Health and Wellness every morning when you get up and deciding, what am I putting in my brain? What am I putting on my body? What am I putting in my body? And making conscious decisions for that day. When am I going to exercise? Am I going to spend time in meditation or in prayer? Just to be good to our bodies. With regards, and I think we all agree with that, but it's so important. It's a conscious effort every single day to decide how you're going to treat this greatest asset of ours, which is our body. And the other thing I wanted to say about pancreatic cancer is, as CJ said, it's very tricky because you've got two really important parts to it. There's a gal named Marissa Harris who lives in New York City, who is a pancreatic cancer coach and came to the Annie Appleseed conference about 12 years ago, was stage 4, came and was able to get a lot of help. And she is thriving, and she is a really great coach in that area. And so I would highly recommend her, Marissa Harris.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that addition, Julia. It's great to have you here. Over to Coach Maya.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. My oncologist told me that the diet doesn't matter, but actually the diet mattered a lot. And me changing my diet and lifestyle made me to be cancer-free within 8 months. So this is what I just want to add, that when people talk about diet doesn't matter, I would always ask them that one of the reasons we live in this life and our life continues because of the food we put in our body. And how is it possible that that food doesn't matter? Because we cannot survive without food. How does it matter? Like, the food does not matter when it comes to your health and other things. So that's how I look at it, because we cannot survive without food more than what, a month and a half, 2 months max, right? So if food doesn't matter, so why we die without it? So that's what I would ask, but never listen to registered dietitian because they go through the same school system as MDs goes through, right? So do your legit homework and change what you have to change. Food matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's quite bizarre how, it's been accepted as the standard practice to just say that food doesn't matter. It's truly mind-boggling when you look at, how far down a dark path the average level of consciousness has gone in regards to what goes into health. And it's no surprise that as, trends like that have become the standard of society, as everything in this world has become increasingly artificial, of course, including our food, that we see unprecedented levels of ailment, cancer or otherwise. Certainly no coincidence. I
I want to
see.
add one more thing,
Sure.
that um, it's actually food that changed everything in my lifestyle because I refused to take conventional medicine. It was all natural, all holistic, with dietary changes and lifestyle changes that I was cancer free within 8 months. Just want to add that.
Thank you
And
very much.
I'd like to.
I second that because I basically went through the exact same thing as you did, knowing that me personally, there would be no way that I could take chemo, radiation, or drugs. It was my personal choice, but it was a choice made on education and hunkering down for 4 months before I completely changed my entire lifestyle and diet. So it was in all the environmental aspects to that disease and what caused that disease. And it was a lifetime, 25 years of continued research and changing things up to to remain healthy and to remain in a good place. And most oncologists have only had 2 or 3 hours of nutrition in all of their training. And I think that for the most part with doctors, those doctors know what they know, and that's it. And they can't really help you with a holistic or a complementary view. And I think it scares most of them because they really don't know how to answer those questions or to help us. And so we just have to give them some mercy and step away and just say, I need to find my own resources and, pursue what in your heart and your mind and your spirit is going to work for you. Just like all of us on this call, all of you coaches, you're all trained, many of you are doctors, and you know what you know. And they don't know anything about nutrition. I mean, go to an oncology, office and look at what they serve, and look at the state of the people that work there. You know, it's sad. So we have to love on them and we have to accept them, but it's not the place to go to get that information.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know a bunch of people had something to add real quick. If whoever mentioned the coach in New York, someone on Facebook is asking for their contact details. So if whoever mentioned the coach in New York, if you could just put that information in the chat if you have it, I'll forward it over to them. Thank you.
Yeah, that was me.
I thought so. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. I see a hand up from Harmon.
Yeah, quick. I just want to quickly add, Zach, what you said to tag on to what you said. What they want us to do is to suspend our number one common sense and our belief in cause and effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Cellular health does not come from Twinkies, and you don't need anything other than common rationality to know that. But then again, your common rationality is not is not professional enough to impress them or whatever. But really, it's just a disbelief in cause and effect, which is unacceptable.
Absolutely. A huge, huge point to really contemplate on because the entire schema that's been built of this modern world and the, so-called history and just our health and everything that they purport is that everything is random and nothing matters. Now, we don't have to get into this because it's off topic, but look at, the perpetuated concept of what this whole world even is. They say it just randomly sprung up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden there was some random explosion for no reason, and then randomly this whole world was created. and randomly people are sick and randomly people have cancer, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And when you live in that model, it's so disempowering because then nothing matters. And this fits into the model of genetics that gets, talked about how, oh yeah, every problem in the world just is, oh, it's your genetics. Oh, it's your genetics. Oh, it's your genetics. And you say that to someone, and then the quest for improvement is done because it's just, oh, there's no hope. My genetics, sorry, I'm doomed. But what gets left out is the epigenetics. Sure, we might have damaged DNA from the accrued unhealthy choices of our ancestors. Yes, sure. But what can we do in this lifetime to change ourselves at that cellular level? They don't talk about that. That's the epigenetics portion about what we talk about here at Beat Cancer and what holistic health and wellness really involves. Because what we do every day matters and makes an impact on our cells, on our DNA, and what we pass on to the next generation. That's what's not talked about. And that's the empowering part. And that's no coincidence either. Um, so over to Jane. I see a hand up.
This is something that I'm very happy about personally, and I think that we can have hope for. I'm finding a difference in today's world. I had two husbands that died of chronic myelogenous leukemia, so I can compare Michael, who died in 2024, and Stephen, who died in 1982. In 1982, I got much more of the regular doctors that actually his hematologist was a chain smoker. But with Michael, we were able to choose a team of doctors that worked hand in hand with our integrative medicine doctor and encouraged Michael and me, because he's actually my doctor as well, to go by the suggestions of food as medicine. I think my doctor today went to a cardiologist, and he's part of the team. And he was saying that he's a vegetarian, and he was saying that he was so proud of me because juicing has made me so much healthier. So it's there today. The doctors are there that want to work hand in hand with another group of doctors in integrative medicine that will get at the source. And I went to Michael's hematologist, but is also, I don't have cancer, but I have a blood disorder. And he told me he wants to work with integrative medicine doctors. So I think it's a matter of finding the right group of doctors for you and finding a team that will work together. When Michael was complaining about the diet that Dr. Bazan, our integrative medicines MD, and Michael was complaining to our pulmonologist, the pulmonologist turned and said to Michael, Dr. Bazan is more brilliant than all of us. Follow his recommendations. So I think the world is changing. It's changing slowly, but it is changing. And the most important thing I find right now is that we have to find that team of doctors who will work together. But it's possible. So we have hope in there.
Absolutely. Hope being the key word there. Thank you very much, Coach Jane. Over to Coach Catherine. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you, Zach. I just really wanted to then zone in again once more about how important cellular nutrition is. And I know from my patient population or my client population that 50% of them are actually looking at conventional medicine and doing conventional therapies, the chemo, the radiation, and especially those with abdominal surgery and having pancreatic and abdominal cancer. And my concern is that cellular nutrition is important, especially with the chemo and radiation and if all the damage it does to our immune system. So I really think, especially if you have pancreatic cancer, that your immune system is really important to you. So, managing stress and your diet really is good, sound cellular nutrition is something you need to focus on. And I wanted to make an announcement that my book has gone to the publisher, and it's Health and Healing Habitudes. And I work with, I write about essentially good health habits and good healing habits that are habits and attitudes. I call them habitudes. And together, how complementary they are in working in everything we do. And that's from nutrition to our lifestyle changes. And I think, and I agree 100% with Maya. It's adapting our lifestyle and our eating habits and everything across the board that keeps us healthy and our mindset straight. So we'll go with that, and that's everything we're taught in school, and that we can give and empower our patients to do so they have control.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Coach Catherine. We had a question in the chat a little while ago. The asker has since dropped off the call, but perhaps they'll catch the replay, and it's a good question, so we will answer it anyway. They said, I'm looking into doing the Beat Cancer program, the Holistic Cancer Coach Certification Program, and I'm curious how many coaches have worked hand in hand with oncologists, or where else are you finding your clients? So that's open to any of our coaches here. Two-part question. Have you worked hand in hand with oncologists to help patients? Slash, where else are you acquiring your clients from? What is it like being a cancer coach? Where do you find people to work with? Open question for any of our coaches. I see a hand from Jane first.
I am so proud to say that I've been with Beat Cancer since 1981, and it is the greatest organization around that if anyone wants to get an education in cancer coaching, this is the only place to go. I also will say the first thing is that the most important thing is to have the passion inside your heart, and then the rest will come. It is when we become a coach and we start our business, just like any other business, it takes time to have clients. I am working with a holistic, with a oncologist. I haven't gotten any referrals yet, but he's looking to match up. That it's very. I think the most difficult thing is to find people that want to make change, to do the work to make changes in their life. That's the most important. That's the most difficult thing. I find even very close friend of mine who had breast cancer, had both her breasts removed. She's a friend of mine for 40 years, and I say, I'm free to you. Let me help you. And they don't want to make the changes. So I think it's just like any other business. Try different avenues. Coaching is something new, I think, to hematologists, but I find that they're open. So I'm just at the beginning of that myself, but it is possible.
Thank you very much,
It's
Jane.
also possible to not have just one avenue. Multimedia is something that's very important that I have to do personally better about myself, and word of mouth, and saying this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. I created a flyer. I think that's helpful, so that it shows what a holistic cancer coach can do, because most people don't know. We were talking about mind, body, spirit, all the different aspects of it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jane. Over to Maya.
When we talk about getting clients, I think that's the biggest thing. Like when people want to become a coach, health coach or cancer coach, their question is where to get the clients. Um, when you're ready, clients are going to come to you. Like they'll find a way to come to you. That's what I would say. Um, I do work. I wouldn't say that I have a doctor who refers the clients to me, but I do work with my clients' doctors. I always in contact with them. I always talk to them. If they're open to share, if they're open to talk to a coach, I'm always open to talk to the doctors. For example, I don't promote myself. My clients came to me from word of mouth. I've been coaching clients for about 7 years now. So I had many, many clients, and I do have clients um, now. So I do presentations. People know me from doing presentations, talking about health at different, places. You don't have to necessarily walk with a doctor who would refer your clients. Actually, they are not as willing to refer the clients, I would say, like as we hope they would. Um, it's all for clients willing to work with you, and they'll find you. That's what I would say. Like when the clients are like ready to work with a nutrition coach and they want to learn more, they'll find you themselves. So I don't think so that should be you're worried to work with a doctor. I actually prefer not to work with a doctor. Um, no offense to any doctor. I prefer for client to find me and start working with me. And if client wants me to talk to their doctor, I'm always open to talk and discuss the stuff with the doctor and get the recommendations from the doctor. So that's how I work. But again, everyone is different. So I did not start working with a doctor. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I see a hand from Catherine and then Dr. Gerdo.
Thank you, Zach. I most certainly have had a whole conundrum of patients, but I can honestly say that I do a lot of public speaking. I write articles. I'm doing my own podcast. I'm coaching. I'm doing Reiki. But every time I have cancer patients that where the doctor would like to speak with me, I send bi-weekly updates to those doctors so they know exactly what I'm doing, the education programs and what was included in them. I talk about anything I've done and progress I feel this clients has made, but I also note where I have concerns. And so these doctors that I've worked with them, they have actually referred clients to me because I have been judicious in working with them and supplying them with information so that they feel they're abreast of what's going on with the patient at home. And they actually like that support. Once you get in there and you get your patient say, take these to your doctor, and if I have his email address, I can help you. And they love being abreast of that. And it really has made a big difference because I've gone from $500 a month to several thousand now. And so it's kind of nice to start. And it took 3, 4 years to get there, right, Zach? And I've only been a cancer coach for 3, 4 years, and I'm just now making a nice. You have to stick to it and don't be discouraged. And publicly get out there and let people know. And start with just those little tiny, the Rotary and Optimist. Start at the small clubs and the YMCA and let them know that you're to talk about cancer awareness or whatever topic, and just get out there. People will start to pay attention. They're starving for information. They're starving. And so don't feel shy. You are needed. One of my clients is actually an insurance that has done health stuff. And she said she's going to help me write some articles to get cancer coach noted and to get our profile raised. So I'm hoping we can get that done, at least in Canada. I don't know how beneficial it's going to be in the US, but it's nice to know that some people are starting to take a second look and say, hey, we do have a benefit in the community and we do make a difference.
Really fantastic addition and words of encouragement, Catherine. Super happy to hear things are going well for you. I know you've been working at it for some time, and that's what it takes, you know. A lot of people come and they ask me, well, so when am I going to get my clients, and what's the potential of this opportunity to be a coach, and what could this look like? And there's no answer because the answer is really what you are going to make of it. Like anything in this world, it
Bingo.
takes time, it takes effort, it takes, sometimes some struggle. And it takes figuring things out. And the beautiful thing is that you, when plugged into this community, have the opportunity to connect with other coaches, to connect with our support staff, and maybe avoid some pitfalls along the way or expedite your learning process by hearing what everyone else has done. But yeah, I always tell people what you get out of this as an endeavor, as a business, as an income is ultimately dependent upon what you put into it. I want to just take a moment and welcome our furry friend to the call. What a wonderful looking dog there. And then we're gonna go over to Dr. Gerda.
Okay.
This is Cuddles. This is
Nice.
Cuddles.
Well, welcome, Cuddles.
Okay, Zach, you took the words out of my mouth. But anyway, so I started out, you know, helping cancer patients as a second career. I was in the Navy for 27 years and got my PhD in natural medicine in 2014, and then went to Beat Cancer and got my certification in 2017. So it's been a long road as a second career, but I would say just be patient, be passionate about what you do. Passion is a really big deal, and people can pick up on that. I retired from helping high-end one-to-one clients in 2024, and so now I wrote a course in it's called The Unwritten Chapter, A New Paradigm in Nutrition Against Breast Cancer Recurrence. So now I've got a specialty in recurrence of cancer. So I would say just you will go through some struggles in finding your patients, your clients, and just be passionate about what you do, and it will come.
Absolutely. The hardest part is getting started, right? It's, such a world of opportunities, so many directions to go in, different specialties. Do I niche down? Do I
Yeah.
be general? But, once you get that momentum going, you find a path that works, you find a workflow that works. And then it's just about repeating day after day and getting the reps in, getting the exposure out, and, you will reap what you sow. So thank you very much
Yeah.
for the addition.
In this, just one more last thing. In this market, I would say if you can niche down a little bit, that's what people are looking for, a specialist in their type of cancer. So um, that's what I would recommend.
Thank you very much for that addition. Over to Maya.
Yeah, one thing I want to say that working with the doctors, most of the time from my personal experience working with a client, doctors discourage their patients to work with nutrition coach, or they would say um, it's not going to do anything and stuff like that. That's one. Number two, and another thing from my experience, my clients would schedule a call with me after they go and see their doctor because they want to get that peace of mind back. They want to be heard. They want to talk to someone, that who's going to give them, you know, not only negative side of the cancer, but there's also so many positive side of the cancer. And that's what we bring to the table. We encourage people to trust their own body, to to focus on their mindset because it plays such a big role in the healing process, and to trust their own body. The body can heal itself. So that's another thing that I want to say. It's not, I mean, you don't have to look to work particularly with a doctor to get the clients. You're going to get the clients from word of mouth, from just people just to know you. You're a cancer coach. And when people hear your story, share your story, people are going to come to you. And that's how I get my clients. They come to me because they hear my story, they read my story, they look at my social media, and they come to me. And they get stuff from us that they cannot get from their doctor. They've been hurt. And there's no doctor could sit down and talk to clients for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. I talk to my clients just for them to go to that level of comfort and to have a positive mindset, because it takes time to have those changes, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that addition, Coach Maya. So we have a couple minutes here till the top of the hour. Time to squeeze in one more little topic of discussion if anyone has one more addition or comment or question. So I will have the mic open here for anyone that would like to get in any last minute thoughts. And if not, we'll call it there. I'm looking for hands. I'm looking for comments. I see. Is that a hand from Jane?
I think the most important thing on the topic that we're talking about, becoming a holistic cancer coach with BeatCancer.org, is the passion in your heart. Because this is divine work, as I look at it, where if the passion in your heart is right, the rest will follow, and you'll be guided to where to go, and people will be guided, like Maya said, they will come to you. So start with the passion, and then the rest will follow.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that addition, Coach Jane. And that will conclude tonight's call. Thank you, everyone who joined us on the Zoom. Thank you, everyone who joined us on the live stream on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, or wherever else you're watching. As always, we are very, very. Oh, look, there's someone coming in now. People, time zones are really annoying. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much for joining the call. We're here every Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to adjust for your local time zone. Whether you're here with me now or watching the recording, make sure you're joining us next week on the 19th for a very special edition, the first of its kind collaboration call with the Annie Appleseed Project crew. Be sure you're on our mailing list so you get an announcement about that and all the other announcements about the wonderful things that we have going on. You definitely don't want to miss next week. It's going to be a great time. Thank you very much for Julia or for being here already with us today. And that's about all. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All
Have a
right.
wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of your evening,
Thank
everybody.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you
Great
all. Good
job.
night.
Great job, Zach.